Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me here for this practice today. This is a grounding and nourishing full body practice that is slow and fluid whilst riding the ebb and flow of the breath. I always really love to use props in my classes, and I will be using 2 yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, you could use a stack of books, you could use tins of soup, pots or pans, anything that you can place under your hands to raise the level of the ground up to meet your hands. So I invite you to grab those, and I'll be waiting here for you when you get back. So we'll start in a seated position, and I invite you to get comfortable. So if you would like to sit onto a cushion, a bolster, a block, something to elevate the hips up, this can help to change the angle of the pelvis and create more space for the femur bone to rotate at the hip joint. So it might bring a little bit more comfort into the pose for you. So feel free to adjust and really honor the comfort of your body always. It's so important. So we'll start with a little bit of centering and grounding. So once you've found your seat, take a moment to notice where the sitting bones connect with the ground. Now, can you slightly rock forwards to the front of the sitting bones, and perhaps notice if that brings around any subtle shift and change to the lower back. Softly begin to magnetize the shoulder blades towards one another, rising up out of the crown of the head. Notice how the body feels today, how you're holding yourself. Is there anywhere that needs a little bit more nourishment, a little bit more TLC? Without any judgment, scan over the body and be aware of what comes up, where you may or may not be feeling sensations. And as we move throughout the practice, I might bring your awareness to sensations of the body. And know that if you're not feeling anything at all, that's perfectly okay. Just be aware and accepting of whatever's coming up for you. And just before we begin the practice, I've got a quote that I would like to read. Mental health problems don't define who you are. They are something you experience. You walk in the rain, you feel the rain, but importantly, you are not the rain. Matt Haig. So as we move through our practice today, I invite you to become more aware of how you're moving, how you're holding yourself without any judgment. Find some acceptance, some kindness and compassion for all that your body does for you. Now, as we invite the breath in, I invite you to reach your arms all the way up over the head. And as you breathe out, bringing the arms back down by the sides. So for the whole in-breath, can you travel the arms all the way up, palms to touch at the top of the breath, and breathing out, letting the arms travel all the way back down, and at the end of the exhale, the fingertips graze the earth. So you might be moving at a completely different pace and rhythm to me, and I encourage that. Really tune in to your own breath, your own body, and your own movement. Now we'll change this slightly, still breathing in, reaching the arms up. And as you breathe out, one arm comes down. Graze the ground with your fingertips as you lean to the side. Breathing in, reaching both arms up. And breathing out, come over to the other side. Now start to notice the subtle sensations throughout the body as you move from side to side. On one side of the body, the ribs and the hips magnetize towards one another. And on the other side, at the same time, the ribs move away from the hip. And notice any sensations that come around with this movement. And we'll inhale back to the center and reach both arms up. Now as you breathe out, we'll start to turn to the right side and we'll move from the navel. So from above the navel, we're rotating towards the right, and below the navel, we're trying to rotate towards the left. And then bring the hands down to rest very gently. So the right hand can place onto the ground or onto a block behind you, and the left hand can just rest softly onto the leg. Try to avoid pulling the knee up away from the ground, just let it rest. And with the breath, really invite length through the spine. And as you breathe out, rotating from above the navel, start to draw the back shoulder further back. And release back to the center. And we'll take a breath in to reach the arms up. And breathing out, we're going to rotate to the left. So really making the abdominal muscles work here as we rotate from above the navel towards the left, below the navel towards the right. And then bring the hands down to rest. Sprinkle the back fingertips to the ground or to a block. Let the front hand rest softly onto the leg. Invite the breath in and lengthen all the way up through the spine. As you breathe out, see if you can start to turn more from above the navel towards the left. Draw the left shoulder back. Coming back through the center. And inhale to reach the arms up. Keep the sitting bones rooted down into the ground as you lengthen up through the fingertips. And bring the hands down to the ground behind you. Sprinkle the hands to the floor. And draw the shoulders towards one another. So they magnetize towards one another. And the front of the heart space moves forwards and up. And notice where you feel the most sensation in your body here. What might that sensation be telling you? And rather than leaning back into the hands, we could explore with pressing the rib cage forwards, really opening up through the front body as we engage the muscles along the back body, drawing the shoulder blades towards one another. And then we'll soften and move on to your hands and knees. So in this tabletop pose, we'll start to add in a little bit more movement with the breath. So I invite you to explore with an inhale to start to tilt the pelvis, anterior tilt the pelvis. Oh shoot. So let's go from tabletop. Edit from tabletop. It's quite an easy edit. Restorative. Calf. Side. Body. It was going quite well, and I'll pick it up. I'll pick it back up. Right. So we're in tabletop. To your hands and knees. So in our tabletop position here, can you root down through the hands? So pressing down through the four corners of the palm of the hand, the knuckle of the index finger, the little finger, the thumb. Press down through the palm and grip the ground with your fingertips. Pressing the hands down into the ground. Start to magnetize the ribs towards the hips. Press the hands down and feel the shoulders start to separate from one another. And see if you can invite some softness into the back of the neck. And then start to move from the tailbone. Start to let the tailbone, the sitting bones, start to move upwards. The abdomen starts to move down towards the earth. Keep gripping the ground with the hands as you draw the heart forwards between the arms. And then ripple through the spine again, starting from the tailbone. Start to let it drop towards the backs of the knees. Draw in, magnetize the ribs towards the hips. Pressing down through the hands. Feel every little movement of the spine. And then begin to soften. As the tailbone, the sitting bones start to move up. The abdomen moves down. And the heart moves forwards, as if it's shining the light forwards between your arms. Now, we're moving quite slow, so you might have taken a couple of breaths per movement, and that's absolutely fine. We're going to start to try and sync each movement with a breath. And traditionally, we will inhale as we arch through the lower back and pull the heart forwards, because the front of the body is more open and you can draw in more breath. And as you exhale is when we round through the spine, because naturally there's more of a contraction through the abdomen that presses the air back out of the body. But I really invite you to explore and find your own rhythm of breath. Find your own choice within the practice. So breathe however it serves you right now. Now we're going to start to add on. So I'm going to give you options as we go. Well, you could continue to stay here and maybe move a little bit forwards with the heart as you pull the heart forwards through the arms. And as you round through the spine, allowing the hips to journey back towards the heels. So there's a little bit more of a motion of moving forwards and back. Now, if you'd like to add on a little more, you've got the option that we could tuck the toes, lead with the sitting bones and press up into a downward facing dog. Really noticing the ground beneath the hands and the feet. Then pressing into the hands, coming high onto the toes, start to round forwards into plank. And bring the knees all the way down to the ground. And travel back, hips towards the heels. So I invite you to explore and see what feels good in your own body today. This is your practice, your choice. So wherever you are, really notice the ground beneath you. Notice the placement of your hands. Notice where the feet touch the ground and pull up the energy of the earth with your breath. So maybe continue to move forwards and back as you round the spine and arc the spine forwards. Or you could continue with your adventure to come into downward facing dog. Lead with the sitting bones as you press the hips up and back, root down through the hands and the feet, and round in forwards to plank pose. Press the hands down, really separate the shoulder blades. Bring the knees to the earth. Hips back towards the heels into an active child's pose. Now add in the breath, really focus the movement and the breath together. Inhale to come forwards, arching the spine. Exhale to press back, downward facing dog. Inhale to round forwards to plank. Exhale, knees down, active child's pose. And we'll do this one more time. Inhale, arching the spine, arc the heart forwards. Exhale, lead with the sitting bones, pressing up to downward facing dog. Round forwards to plank, really root down through the hands and the toes. Lower the knees. And move the hips back. Rounding through the spine, travel back to hands and knees. Extend the right leg back, reaching back, lifting the leg from the inside of the thigh. Then press down, really root down through the palms, round through the spine, separate the shoulder blades and draw the knee towards the chest. Look down towards your right hand and step the right foot forwards. And you can explore if it feels better with the foot on the outside or the inside of the hand. Root down through the feet and slowly rise up to a high lunge. As you reach up through the arms, extending through the fingertips, reach forwards with the rib cage. Like you've got a string on your sternum down the center of the chest, pulling you forwards. Now bringing the hands down, you could bring the hands onto your blocks. Root down through the heels, start to lift the toes and move the hips back. Start to straighten through the front leg, any amount. Really root down through the heel and squeeze the 2 feet together. Feel the earth beneath the feet. And bending back into the knee, place the foot back down onto the ground, reach the arms up. Bring the hands down to the earth. Slide the right leg back, coming onto hands and knees. Arching the spine, reach the heart forwards between the arms. Start to bend the elbows, kiss the heart down to the earth. Sliding forwards onto the front body, root the toenails down into the ground. And slowly start to peel the heart from the earth, pressing the rib cage forwards towards the top of the mat and magnetize the shoulder blades towards one another. Press down through the hands, pressing back to tabletop, hands and knees. And reach back with the left leg, lifting from the inside of the thigh. Root down through the hands, press down, round through the upper back, separate the shoulder blades, pull the knee forwards towards the chest, look down towards your left hand, step the foot there. Explore whether you'd like the foot on the inside or the outside of the hand, so that you can really ground down through the feet. Root down, reach up with the arms, extend through the fingertips. And bring the hands down either to the ground or to blocks. Start to flex through the front foot, lifting the toes from the ground. Root down through the heel. Straightening the front leg any amount. Arcing the heart forwards towards the toes. Press down through the feet and squeeze the 2 feet towards one another. Start to bend back into the front knee and root the foot down. Feel the foot into the ground and inhale, reach the arms up. Bringing the hands down. Slide the left leg back, come onto hands and knees. Arc the heart forwards, bend into the elbows, kiss the heart to the earth. And then slide onto the front body, root the toenails down. Interlace the fingers behind the lower back. Magnetize the shoulder blades towards one another and slide the hands down towards the heels as you peel the heart from the earth. And keep pressing the rib cage forwards. Slowly release. Bring the hands back down to the ground and press through the palms. Come into tabletop onto your hands and knees. Tucking the toes under, arc the heart forwards, press down through the hands, press down through the toes, start to lift the knees. Now lift the knees any amount, and if you need to, lower them back down at any time. Keep leading with the sitting bones if you choose to lift the hips up into downward facing dog. Pressing down through the palms like you're trying to slide your hands forwards. Feel the shoulders lift towards the ears. Root down through the hands, through whatever part of the feet that's grounding down. And in your own time, in your own way, walk to the top of the mat. Bring your props underneath your hands. And take your time to root down through your feet. Bringing the feet to a comfortable distance underneath you. And when we come up into our half lift, if our hands are on the ground, we can't kind of come up far enough. We can't come up halfway to really, engage the back muscles to start to strengthen the spine, the muscles along the spine. And then sometimes if we bring the hands onto the legs to start to lengthen, we press back into the legs, moving back into our heels, putting too much pressure on the hamstring attachments at the backs of the knees. So I invite you, really encourage you to place your hands onto blocks or cans or anything that you have and come up halfway like you're coming into be a tabletop and you could rest a cup of tea on your back. And as you pull the breath in, start to draw in through the navel, lengthen through the spine, reaching through the crown of the head. And as you start to breathe out, bend the elbows, magnetize the ribs towards the hips and bow forwards. Then bring the hands to the hips, arc the heart forwards towards the top of the mat and slowly rise up to stand. Bring the arms down by the sides. And really feel the feet on the ground. Perhaps you could start to rock forwards and back, noticing where the feet touch the ground and then where they lift from the ground. And then start to find a little bit more stillness. Press down through the ball of the big toe. Spread the toes as wide as you can and press down through the ball of the little toe. And press down through the big toe and the little toe. Don't worry about whatever happens to the 3 toes in between. They can stay lifted, they can press down. Just really root down through the ball of the big toe and the little toe. And then the center point of the heel, like you're making a triangle in your foot. And really feel that connection to the earth. And root through the feet as you rise up through the arms, lengthening the spine, reaching up through the fingertips. And then bring the hands through the heart center as you start to bend through the knees, bow forwards. And bring your hands back onto your blocks. Straightening through the legs as much as you can. Inhale and arc the heart forwards as you lengthen the spine. Exhale, bow over the legs and magnetize the ribs towards the hips as you fold. Move the blocks to the side. Bring the hands down to the ground and step back to a plank pose. Feel the hands root down into the earth. Magnetize the ribs towards the hips and separate the shoulder blades. And in your own time and in your own way, come onto the front body. Root the toenails into the earth. Slide the hands wide and come onto your fingertips, spiking the elbows up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, tuck the chin in towards the chest as you start to peel the heart from the earth. As you exhale, press the heart forwards and magnetize the shoulder blades towards one another. And inhale, start to press down. Draw in through the navel, breathe in all the way up to the heart space. Lift the heart up. Exhale, release. Bringing the hands back by the lower ribs. Press down through the hands. Come back to tabletop. If you'd like, you can come back to downward facing dog. Bring the awareness to the breath. Notice where the breath goes. And slowly we'll start to walk the feet forwards. Inhale, take a half lift. And exhale, stepping back with the left foot. Bring the knee to the ground. Inhale, reach the arms up whilst you root down through the feet. Exhale, sprinkle the fingertips to the earth, or place the hands onto blocks. Start to flex the front foot, pull the toes back towards the shin, root down through the heel, and squeeze the 2 feet towards one another. Arc the heart forwards towards the toes. Where can you feel the most sensation here? What might that sensation be telling you today? And bending into the front knee, can you root the front foot down? Press down through the ball of the big toe and the little toe. Tuck the back toes, lift the knee, root down through the feet to rise up to high lunge. And press down through the front foot so much that you come onto the toes of your back foot. Arc the heart forwards. You could bring your hands to your heart. You could bring your hands to blocks or to the floor. Start to lift up from the inside of your leg. So there's a slight internal rotation of the back leg. That's the inside of the leg hugging towards the midline and rotating towards the ceiling. If the hands are on the ground or on blocks, really root through the hands or the fingertips. Root through the right foot. And slowly start to micro bend through the front knee. Reach the left toes towards the back of the mat and feel the toes as they touch the ground. Root through the feet. Rise back up to high lunge. Bringing the hands all the way back down to the earth. Root the hands down, and you can lift the right foot up and step back to downward facing dog. Or you could bring the left knee down and send the right leg back to be in tabletop. So choose your adventure. Come back to the breath. And then slowly walk the feet forwards to the top of the mat. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, bow forwards. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, step back with the right foot and bring the knee to the ground. Root down through the feet, squeeze the 2 feet towards one another and rise up to a high lunge. Sprinkle the fingertips to the ground or to blocks. Start to root down through the left heel, bring the toes back towards you, glide the hips back as you start to straighten the leg. Really dig down through the front heel and squeeze the 2 feet towards one another as you arc the heart forwards. Really notice the foundations of the feet where they connect with the ground. And bend back into the front knee. Slowly let the feet land. So feel the front foot as it begins to connect and root back into the ground. Lift the back knee. Root down to rise up to high lunge. And root down through the front foot so much. You could bring your hands back to heart center here, that you start to come forwards onto the top of the back foot and then lift the back leg up. Maybe bringing the hands to the ground or to blocks. Rooting down firmly through the left foot and taking a slight internal rotation of the right leg so the inside of the leg hugs towards the midline and lifts towards the ceiling. Arc the heart forwards and really slowly start to bend into the left knee. Reach the right toes back and slowly place the toes to the ground. Feel where the feet connect. Root down to rise up to high lunge. Bring the hands back down to the earth and either bring the right knee down, step the left knee back to hands and knees, or you can sweep the left leg back to downward facing dog. Wherever you are, start to really root down, like you've got vines growing from your hands, from your feet, connecting you to the earth. Bend the knees, lower down, and come back onto your sitting bones. Bring the soles of the feet together and have the feet slightly forwards, not so close to the body, so you've got a diamond shape between your legs, and press the soles of the feet into one another like they've really been pressing down into the ground, pressing down through the ball of the big toe, the little toe and the heel, and bring your hands to your ankles. Now can you become aware of where the sitting bones connect with the ground? And slightly rock to the front of the sitting bones. Magnetize the shoulder blades towards one another as you move the heart forwards towards the feet. Now you can always place a cushion or some folded blankets underneath the hips. And you choose your adventure here. You might like to keep this activation through the upper body, arcing the heart forwards, maybe feeling sensations through the back muscles. Or if you prefer, you could bow forwards towards your feet. And really feel into the body, feel into the breath. Honour and acknowledge all that your body has done for you to guide you through this practice today. Can you be aware of your inner and outer strength that's got you here and through this practice today? Now slowly coming up, bringing the soles of the feet to the ground. Now I've ended up right at the back of my mat here, so I'm just going to scooch forwards a little bit. Root the feet down. Reaching the arms forwards, arcing the heart up. Now, root down through the feet and start to slowly lower down, rounding through the spine, drawing the front body to the back body as you lower. Slowly feel every part of the body as it begins to connect with the ground. And once you get there, reach the arms and the legs up towards the ceiling. And perhaps you'd like to invite in some circles of the ankles or the wrists. And slowly draw the knees in towards the chest. And perhaps take a little rock from side to side. And as you are ready, come into your final resting pose. So you may choose to take Shavasana with the legs extended. You might like to keep the knees bent. You could always lie on your side or come to a seated position. Whatever feels the most nourishing for your body right now. And take a moment to notice where your body connects with the ground. Can you bring your awareness to your feet? And notice where the feet rest on the ground. Maybe it's the soles of the feet, the backs of the heels, the edge of the foot. Just be aware with what you can feel under your feet. Perhaps you can notice the temperature of the ground on your feet. The texture of the ground or your yoga mat. Perhaps it's hard or soft, smooth or rough. Just being present there with whatever you feel underneath your feet. Moving your awareness up the body, the backs of the legs, the spine, the shoulders, the arms, and the head. Just feel the body supported by the earth. And can you bring your awareness to your breath? And as your body exhales, ask it to surrender to the earth. Feel the ground holding you and supporting you. I trust that I deserve to be supported, nurtured, and held unconditionally. I am the embodiment of inner peace. I invite you to stay here for as long as you need to honour this moment of rest. If you feel ready to welcome yourself back, notice the breath, notice your body, notice the earth beneath you. And in your own time and in your own way, make your way back to a seated position. It's been an honour to guide you through this practice today. I hope it brought a little bit more grounding and nourishment into your body, into your day. And may we invite peace into our bodies. May we speak words that heal and create peace. May we bring peace to our minds. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Enjoy the rest of your day.